Greetings, fellow artistes. This is another edition of You Saw It, Now Draw It, and I am Scott Gabala-Broxome, children's illustrator, author, and caricaturist. And today we're going to draw a puppy together. And the puppy, this particular puppy is called, if I'm pronouncing this correctly, Kava-chan, I believe it's a Kava-chan puppy. So, grab your pencil and paper and eraser, and we'll get to it. Okay. A few facts about puppies here before we get started. I found out that puppies are born blind and deaf, and they can't see or hear until they're about 2 weeks old. They spend about 15 to 20 hours a day sleeping, which makes sense. They are born without teeth. They don't get their teeth until about 4 weeks of age. And I found out that newborn puppies can't poop, which definitely changes very quickly. Anyway, let's get going on this puppy. As I'd mentioned before in previous How to Draw episodes, starting from the top and moving to the bottom, sometimes that works, but more times than not, starting in the middle somewhere. And such is the case here. We're actually going to start with the middle, the center here, the nose, and the mouth. So if I cover up this part of the head and most of the body, what shape do you see right here? Because we're going to start with the shapes, and then we're going to add the wonderful D word details afterwards. So this shape is pretty much an oval shape, isn't it? Right here. So on your paper, find a spot. It's a little bit higher than the middle here. And what we're going to do is we're going to draw an oval shape. Like that. Okay. Now, once you got the oval shape in, and it's slightly tilted on one side here, we're going to go right into the center, and we're going to draw the nose here. And the nose is pretty much what shape? It has 3 sides, kind of a triangle, but it's rounded off, isn't it? So what we're going to do is right in the center, we'll draw that triangle and round it off on each of the corners, like that. And then right below that, we're going to draw short, a tiny little number 1 right underneath there. And then we're going to draw a straight line going across, not too far across like that. We're just going to leave it for now. Let's go to the rest of the head. If we go to the side of this mouth nose here, the oval, you can see that the lines come out just a little bit like this. So what we're going to do is, we're going to, on each side, about halfway down, we're going to draw, starting with the right side here, a diagonal line at an angle coming up a little bit. We're going to do the same thing on the other side, like this. Okay. From those 2 lines, what we're going to do is we're going to draw around the top of the head. Now, what we're going to do is, let's start on the left side here. We're going to draw a line. It's going to come up at a slight angle. We're going to come up like this. I think I might have gone too far, but like this. We're going to turn around, come over like this, and around. So what did I do? Well, I didn't quite make an upside down U. It's a little lopsided. This part here is a little higher than this, isn't it? So I brought the line up at a slight diagonal, came around, turned a little bit. I'm coming down a little more before I turn it around and touch the other side. Let me just erase that a little bit. Okay. Next thing we're going to do is do this part right in the center here. Okay. Coming up from the nose, between the eyes. What we're going to do with that is we're going to come up above the nose, and right about here, we're going to draw a little C. It's this part right there. We're going to move over a little bit, and this part here, well, I guess what I would say is it's probably a smaller backward C like this. So a C here, and a little backward C here. Go to the bigger C here. What we're going to do is we're going to come in a little bit and come over. Then we're going to come up till we're touching the top. We're going to turn it around. And in this case, we're going to come straight down like this. Now, I know that doesn't exactly look like fur on the dog, but that's the detail that comes later. Once you've done that, let's add some eyes. And here it's pretty easy. The shape of the eyes are circles, right? So we're going to move over a little bit from this C, and we're going to put a circle right there. Then we're going to move over to the other side of the little backward C, and we're going to put the second eye like that. There we go. Now, what we're going to do here is we're going to add a little bit of the highlight in there. I know this is probably a detail, but the highlight is the reflection of the light off of the eyes here. And in this particular case, it's like a little jelly bean shape at an angle. Over here, you've just got a little circle oval right over to the side right there. Once you've done that, what we're going to do is there's a little tiny corner part here that we're going to bring over like that. Over here, what this eye does is we're going to go around the eye and come over just a little bit like that. And we're actually going to do the same thing in the other eye and bring it right over like that. Okay. Now what we're going to do is, we might as well do this now, is just fill in that circle around the oval shape here. And we're going to fill it in around that jelly bean shape here. Okay. Now, let's go to this eye over here. We're going to come up just a little bit. What we're going to do is we're going to put a curved line for what looks like on this dog, a little eyebrow. At the end here, we're going to wiggle it a little bit and come back over again like that. On this side over here, it's a little bit different, isn't it? We're actually going to go right to the end of this line here. We're going to bring it way up like this. I'm going to bring it in, and what I'm going to do is this part right there, I'm going to come out and back in again like that. So what did I do? I came way up like this, came over, but I stopped, came out and back again. Oh, let's go back to the nose for a second here. I know it's kind of hard to see here, but there's actually two nostrils. So we'll put two oval shapes with the number 1 coming halfway up. And then right over the nostrils, I want you to go up and down like one long eyebrow going across. All right, let's add some ears. Let's go to the top of the head. We're going to come down a little bit about here. And what we're going to do is we're going to add this ear. And if we're coming out and down, what shape does this look like? Kind of a triangle, isn't it? Or actually almost like a slice of pizza. So what we're going to do is we're going to angle that line down a little bit. We're going to come out about like this. We're going to turn it around and bring it down. We're going to stop and then bring it up again like that. Diagonal line, and coming up. The ear over here, we're going to come down about like, well, actually there's this little tuft up here, isn't there? So what we're going to do is we're going to go out and back in again like that. Then we're going to bring our line out. We're going to bring it down like this and back in like that. So it's not quite a pizza shape here. Maybe kind of a baked potato. All right, let's add the body. Right here in this ear here, let's go right to the bottom. And what we're going to do is we're going to take our pencil and bring it out a little bit like this. Now what happens is we're going to draw a great big diagonal line coming down like this. And if I measure the top to the bottom of the head and go like this, it's almost as long as the length from the chin to the top of the head of the puppy. Not quite. So if I'm measuring this puppy's head here and I do this, it actually comes, I'm just about right here. So I do this, bring it down, add a little line like this. It actually should come about like this. We're going to come around like a little upside down U, and then we're going to bring it back halfway up. We're going to stop, turn it around, come back this way. We're going to stop, not going to go quite as long because this is shorter, isn't it? Turn it around again, but in this case, we're going to bring it in a little bit like this. See how it kind of twists around like that? Bring it around before we come at a diagonal line up like this till it touches the ear. All right, and I do need to erase a little bit here. Kind of clean it up a little. Okay. All right, let's add this back part here. We're going to go up the ear here, and it's a little higher. This is about the middle, a little higher than middle. We're going to draw a diagonal line like this coming out. We're going to stop. We're going to go out like this and back in for that little tail, which is kind of like a skinny letter V. Then we're going to bring the line, the diagonal line down like this. We're going to stop. We're going to bring it out. And then it comes down like this. But before we get there, I think I went too far. Let me do this here. Before we get there, we're going to stop. And then there's this little part here, just a little U coming down like this for another paw. Okay, we've got the shapes. Oh, I did forget one thing. Let's put the collar on the dog. Underneath the chin here, what we're going to do is we're going to bring two lines, parallel lines here, coming down about like this, and we're going to stop. I'm going to put another little part here, a little square. That's the little shiny part here. We're going to come up with a diagonal line like this. And then we're going to bring it right up to the ear like this. And I see sort of a curve shape here. We'll put a loop coming around like this. And then for the dog tag, this could be, I can't really see what it is here, but we're going to fudge it a little bit. Artists call it fudging, as a sort of take a little artistic license and change it a little bit. And I'm actually going to draw what looks like a dog bone or a biscuit for that dog tag. Give you a chance to catch up. And you can actually write whatever name you want to on that tag for your dog. Okay, let's go back for those details. All right, now the fur coming all over. Now when people draw fur, sometimes when I see students draw fur, they draw fur with straight lines like this. And that kind of looks like rain, doesn't it? No, fur always goes different directions like this. Okay, so what we're going to do in this puppy, let's start with this ear over here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to draw some lines coming down. So what I'm doing is I'm not going like this straight up and down because it'll look like a porcupine puppy. The lines are closer together, aren't they, like this? So I'm going to do this, bring them closer together. They're at an angle like this, coming down like that. We get to the bottom here, and then we're going to turn it so it's the opposite direction. It goes, the fur goes this way, so it's going like this. Okay. We're going to go to the top of the head here, and what I'm seeing here, this fur is coming out over like this. Come down to that eyebrow. What we're going to do here, it's actually almost sticking up, but not too far. We're bringing it over like this, and we're going to do the same thing. This arrow here, this direction, we're going to come down at an angle like this. Let's do the same thing with the ear. The direction is going to be like this. bring it down like this and around. But on this side of the ear, it's going to be like this arrow. So it's going to be the other direction like that. Let's do that with the mouth. Bring it around. It's going to go the opposite direction like this. Coming around like that. There's actually a little bit around the mouth here that we can put here. Then we'll do the same thing. We'll bring it at this direction down like this using this arrow here. So it's going at this direction. Turn it around. We're going to use the arrow going this direction, aren't we? Then we're going to use this arrow over here. Hope you're not getting too dizzy. And then we're going to use this one here coming around. We'll finish it off with the same thing here. I know I'm going fast. And what you can always do going in here is do a second layer, or even a third layer. Right? I'll do a little bit back here. Put a little bit up here. And we could keep going and going with this, but at this point, you get the idea. And one last thing, this puppy looks like she or he is floating in air, so we always have to add a little bit of a shadow, which actually is in the picture. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my pencil and I'm going to shade a little bit underneath here. We'll just finish it off. Shadow like that. You can fill in the nose, the nostrils. Just keep going and then put the name of your dog right there on the dog tag. Well, for now, and you could even do, gosh, I just keep going and going with this, don't I? You could do this. Just keep adding more and more. But that, basically, we've got our puppy. So how did you do? I bet you did a wonderful job. So until next time, keep on sketching and draw some awesome pictures.